My name is Grady Stevenson. I am the interim director of the Department of Community Relations, and it's Black History Month. Hey! So we are so thankful, so grateful to have this event today. It's always a great pleasure to have the health department be a part of our Black History celebration. And it's very, very important to me. I have a mom, I have a wife, and I have 3 daughters. And so to celebrate women's health today is really, really important to me. And I think it should be important to everyone because I know everyone values their mother. And so today we want to make sure that we celebrate, women's health today here in City Hall Rotunda. So welcome on behalf of Mayor Frank G. Jackson. Welcome to City Hall Rotunda. And at this time, I'm going to turn you back into the hands of Director Gordon.
Thank you, Director Stevenson. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm excited to be here today. But first, will all of you join me in thanking everyone who had a role in making today possible? The organizers, the vendors, staff working this event today, and all of you who've come here today. We really appreciate it. Thank you. It should come as no surprise that heart health issues have impacted my family as well. I've spent a fair amount of time tending to those who've had open heart surgery and have had other health issues and learning the practical perspective of something I personally want to avoid. Today we're going to learn a lot more about that for all of us. At the Cleveland Department of Public Health, who are represented here to my right by a number of our staff, our purpose is to improve the quality of life for the city of Cleveland by promoting healthy behavior, protecting the environment, preventing disease, and making our communities healthy places to live, visit, work, and play. Holding events such as today, while a celebration, is also critical to bracing you and the public with the information you need to make the choices that impact your life in a positive and healthy way. Our staff works tirelessly to track data and trends and to identify how we can spread trustworthy and helpful information for you and your heart and your families and your communities. This is not done in isolation. We are joined here today by some of our partners and other departments around the city. We have the Department of Aging, we have EMS, we have public utilities, we obviously have community relations. And this is very important to us so that we are all working together as a larger community. Public health saved your life today. Today's event is yet another way. Today we are going to hear from a number of individuals who are renowned cardiologists from university hospitals who will surely inspire us to try something new. But first, we're going to hear from Toya Walker-Minor, Chief of Public Affairs at the City of Cleveland for over almost 13 years, for some remarks.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Or is it good afternoon? I am so pleased to be here. Thank you for the remarks, Director. Go Red. You know, we're here celebrating Go Red now, but this campaign was created in 2002 under something called the Heart Truth. It was a wake-up call. It was a way to educate and inform women because far too many of us are falling victim to heart disease, to stroke. The statistics say 1 in 3. So if we look around the room, every 3rd woman could fall victim to this. But there's an answer. And the reason why we have this Go Red message, it's a campaign. And it's not a campaign just for today. It's a campaign every day. Every day we have to educate and inform. Every day we have to own our health. Every day we have to know our numbers. Every day we have to exercise and be conscientious of what we take in. If I were Beyonce, right?
All right.
She would say it like this: ring the alarm. I've been through this too long. I'll be darned if I see another woman suffer to this illness without informing. So I'm not a rapper, but that song is so appropriate in terms of we have to ring the alarm. That's what a campaign is. A campaign rings the alarm. So each of us has a responsibility to educate and to inform. Ride a bike, get a walking partner, get an accountability partner. Look at what you're eating. Measure what you're eating. Make sure that your plate is colorful. The more colorful your plate is, the better that intake is for your body. And because so many of you know I'm a preacher's wife, I can't leave out on Beyonce, right? But 1 Corinthians says in 6 and 19, do you not know that these are our temples? So our bodies are temples. We are the living temple, and we have to invest in these temples. We have to own it. So on this day, on this Go Red Day, and everybody looks amazing in their red, but this is an everyday campaign. This is every day we have to own our health. Every day we have to tell a friend. Every day we have to take responsibility for our bodies and making sure that we are heart healthy, because we as women invest so much in other people, and then it comes down to us and we cheat ourselves. But we're only good for our families. We're only good to our friends, our husbands, our spouses, our partners, our children, if we take care of ourselves. So go red every day.
Thank you, Chief. While only 3, we have some admirable women serving on Cleveland City Council. Donna Brady and Phyllis Cleveland could not be here with us today, but we are joined by the newest member of City Council, Jasmine Santana, who was sworn in earlier this year. Councilwoman Santana is the first Latina and represents Clark Fulton, Stockyards, and portions of Brooklyn Center, Tremont, and West Boulevard. She serves on the Health and Human Services, Safety, Transportation, Utilities committees. She spent much of her career working on behalf of the Hispanic community, first at the Hispanic Alliance and then at Metro Health, where she promoted health and nutrition education. I can already tell she's making her mark on City Council and on our community. Councilwoman.
Thank you. Could you hear me? Okay, you know, us Latinas are naturally loud, but with the microphone, even more. So I have to say that I am just so excited to be standing here today and speaking in front of all my previous women's health colleagues. Can you guys put your hands up? We've been working on women's health for 8-10 years, and like my colleague Toya mentioned, this is not just a today thing. This is an everyday awareness around women's health. So for me, I am just so passionate about women's health. And today, as I woke up this morning and put my red jacket on, I felt powerful, I felt bold, and I already felt like I was making a difference. I chose today to wear red and to go red, not only because the women that have been impacted by this heart disease, but also 48% of Hispanic men and 32% of Hispanic women have cardiovascular disease. But most importantly for me, just about a year ago, my sister silently was experiencing heart problems. She didn't want to share it with the family. And so I know she was a little distant, a little different, but I couldn't understand. So as she struggled with this, what she stated is that she kept it away from the family because she couldn't understand how a 27-year-old, pretty healthy young lady could be undergoing heart problems. And so she went through depression, isolation, all this alone, keeping it away from us because she wasn't aware of these campaigns, and she wasn't aware that this is the #1 disease that is affecting Latino community. And so for me, I wear red. For the women, I wear red because of my sister. Blessedly, she's doing well, but it was a wake-up call for me. And so that's why here, I am just so excited to be standing here and choosing to wear red because of Carolina de Jesus, which is my sister. And I'm sure if she would be here, she would be crying. And I also want to state, as a woman, we wear many different hats. We're wives, we're moms, we're sisters, we're daughters, we're community leaders. And sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. We take, sometimes we even skip appointments because we have to go to this meeting or we have to do this with our child. And so I'm here encouraging you, please take care of yourself. Practice self-care. Otherwise, we won't be around long enough to take care of our families and to be community leaders and pave the way for our youth. So once again, thank you for this opportunity. Go red every day, yeah?
Thank you, Councilwoman Santana. So we now have a presentation.
Go red in Spanish. Okay, so they want me to say go red in, okay. Camille, es vete, go red in Spanish. Vete rojo, yeah? Okay, so I'm gonna say vete rojo because Spanish has different dialogues. So I'll be here quite a few times speaking all the dialogues that they have in Spanish. But
Thank you for that. So on behalf of Mayor Frank Jackson, I'd like to call up Julie Spendel from the American Heart Association, who's the Go Red director. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we have a lovely presentation for you, recognizing February as Healthy Heart Month. And I know we're going to learn a lot from you in terms of statistics, so I will skip that and let you tell us about it. But we want to thank you very much for our partnership and the work that you do on behalf of women in our communities and all people. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you. I mean, wow, how do you follow up these women? They're kind of amazing. So thank you again for the recognition of February's Heart Month here in Cuyahoga County. The American Heart Association is proud to connect with members of the Northeast Ohio community in an effort to create a culture of health in our neighborhoods. Heart disease and stroke are the #1 and #2 causes of death worldwide, and here in Cuyahoga County, we recognize heart disease and stroke, thank you, among the leading killers as well. Despite the statistic, in our region, we are fortunate to be surrounded by excellent healthcare leaders. Together, each of us can play a role in preventing, treating, and beating heart disease and stroke. How do we do that? By taking some simple, small steps we can all do every day. Like she said, it's every day, it's not just today. Learn CPR. We have our hands-only CPR training available at heart.org. It's easy, it doesn't involve a certification. You can learn it in 2 easy steps. Learn how to control your high blood pressure. Nearly half of the adults in our country battle with high blood pressure. As revised guidelines have indicated, if you have high blood pressure reading whether the top number is 130 or higher or your bottom number is lower than 80, your elevated blood pressure puts you at risk for heart disease and stroke. Eat well. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Also, be considerate of how much sodium you're ingesting. The average American consumes more than the recommended amount of sodium every day. You want to have 2,300 milligrams a day or less. Finally, know the warning signs. Again, go to heart.org for more info and make your heart health the right and easy choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Now I'd like to call up Brenda Parks. It's a little bit of a surprise. Brenda Parks, who's been with the American Heart Association for over 7 years, is our Multicultural Initiatives Director. This year we are honoring Ms. Parks to thank you for standing strong through adversity and for your continued leadership and tenacity around this issue. I've worked with you for many years, and I know that you are so committed to this work, and we really want to thank you from the bottoms of all of our hearts, hopefully all of our healthy hearts. because of you. So, Brenda, if you have a few words you'd like to say, that would be excellent.
Honestly, I have no words. All I can say is thank you so much. I love God's people, and if there's anything I can do for you, just ask me. That's all I got to say.
Okay, one last but exceptional piece to our agenda. We are going to now hear from Dr. Dina Sperano. She's a cardiologist with University Hospitals, and she's our guest speaker today. She did her undergraduate work at John Carroll University, then attended the Robert Wood Johnson School of Medicine at Rutgers. She completed a residency at Northwestern Memorial Hospital and fellowships at University of Chicago Medical Center. She has an impressive list of expertise in cardiac health, including community outreach for women's heart disease. Her Twitter account states that she's a proud wife and mom, heart rhythm doctor, traveler, foodie, skier, wine lover, and blessed with wonderful family and friends. An excellent description. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sperano.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the American Heart Association and to the City of Cleveland for asking me to be here today. These types of events are always such a delight, and I think very important to be able to spread this message to my own local hometown community here in Cleveland. And happy Valentine's Day to everybody as well. So, I wanted to highlight some of the progress that we've made in women's heart health over the past few decades, and then also talk about some important work that we still yet have to do as a community, both as a medical community and as a community of citizens. So, in the past few decades, we have made a lot of progress. In fact, a couple of years ago, the American Heart Association released a scientific statement on the current state of affairs of heart disease in women, specifically pertaining to heart attacks in women. Thank you. And they highlighted the fact that we have come a long way in the past few decades, mainly thanks to campaigns just like this one. The Go Red campaign started a couple of decades ago. So we have made tremendous impact reducing cardiovascular mortality for women and men in this country since 1984. But what remains true is that also since 1984, more women than men have died and are living with heart disease to this day. So we owe a lot of the success to the fact that we are now applying standard guideline medical therapies and medications to women equally as men. We owe a lot of that to an increased awareness amongst our medical community and also amongst the population at large. So that's tremendous progress. However, as I said, more women than men continue to live and die with heart disease. So what's the problem? Well, we know that women tend to be understudied when it comes to medical research. We know that women tend to still be undertreated when it comes to current guideline therapy and underdiagnosed. So let's talk about the diagnosis, because what often comes up when I have female patients talking to me are what are the symptoms I should be looking out for. So two major take-home points here. One is that women do tend to have more commonly symptoms that are a little bit atypical. So women more likely will have jaw pain or back pain or indigestion type discomfort, more so than men. That's point number one. But point number two, which often is overlooked, is that chest pain remains the most common symptom of a heart attack in women, just like it does for men. So don't ignore the chest pain or think that it won't be that because men have chest pain and women don't. That's not true. So that's, I think, very important. And because of this, this has led to an ongoing delay in the diagnosis when women do have heart attacks or other forms of heart disease. So a woman might present up to 2 days after the onset of symptoms, whereas a man will most often present within a 12 to 24-hour time frame. And that delayed diagnosis translates into delayed medical therapy and reduced survivorship. So it's really important to recognize all of these possible symptoms and present in a timely fashion. Undertreated, as I mentioned, as a result of all of this, women still are under-referred for life-saving medical therapies, whether that be medications, cardiac rehabilitation programs. We actually know that women fare better from cardiac rehab than men, both with regards to physical and emotional recovery from a heart attack, yet they still are referred less often. Women continue to be referred less often for life-saving implantable cardioverter defibrillators, or ICDs, even though they fare just as well as men, if not better, from certain devices that can be life-saving. And still other life-saving interventions, such as coronary interventions or stent placement and certain medications. So we still continue to undertreat women in this country. And as I mentioned before, understudied. Women are still underrepresented in clinical research, which is a major problem, not only in addressing the heart problems of today, but also for future generations. We know that some of the obstacles to this are women are just approached less often when it comes to enrolling in clinical trials, and women tend to want to participate if they're provided with patient-friendly literature and time to think about their decision before responding right away, and also with a more clear depiction of what participating in a clinical trial is going to look like. So they want to understand what the follow-up visits are going to be, and can that be consolidated with other things, because as previously stated by some speakers earlier today, we as women tend to be far more preoccupied with the health of those that we love and care for than with ourselves. So two of the most common reasons why women don't participate in clinical trials is time and caregiver responsibility. So if we can help offset some of this burden for our female patients, we would boost participation in clinical trials and learn a lot more about how to treat women with heart disease. And lastly, I just want to talk about what we can do for our community. So a lot has been said about what we can do for ourselves as individuals, which is very important, not to be understated, to know our numbers, to know our family history. This is very important to how we can not only protect ourselves, but also our daughters and future generations in our own families. Also know that if your family history is quote-unquote negative, meaning if you don't think anyone in your family has had a heart attack, that doesn't mean that you're not necessarily at risk. We know that minority women in this country in particular are at an ethnic predisposition for things like high blood pressure and diabetes, even though they might not have a known family history of heart attack per se. So that also needs to be kept in mind. But lastly, getting back to the community factor, I'll talk for just a moment on out-of-hospital cardiac arrest and the importance of CPR. So CPR and Automated External Defibrillator Awareness Week is the first week of June, and so it's not too late to start something on the local level that could be launched in honor of such an important event. There are over 350,000 out-of-hospital arrests every year, and the survival rate is horrible at less than 10%. But if bystander CPR is delivered, it doubles or triples the chance of a victim's survival. Learning CPR is easy, it's free, it can be done online or in a classroom environment, and I would encourage all of you to inquire at your workplace, at your children's schools, at public places in your community, what the equipment is available. Is there an AED available for these types of situations? Are children being taught CPR? Because all of this is very important, and also within your own family as well. It's very easy for family members or friends to get together and learn CPR. It's 2 steps. The first step is to call 911, and the second step is to just push hard and fast in the center of the chest. You're not going to do more damage than is already being done, so it can only help. And I'll sum it up right there. So thank you very much for asking me to come here today. It was an honor to speak with all of you. And happy Go Red Day and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Dr. Sperano. Again, please join me in thanking Dr. Sperano and everybody on this panel today. And yes, happy Valentine's Day. Perhaps as a gift to your loved ones for Valentine's Day, you take one step, do one thing, and maybe that's learn one thing that you can do. Maybe that's one thing that you might prevent from doing, taking some prevention messages forward, and doing something about your health. And I think that is no better gift to your loved ones. So again, on behalf of everybody here, we thank you for listening, for being here, for participating, and Go Red for Women.